Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live show for Daughter of No World. Very excited to talk about this book. I think it's going to be an interesting discussion. But before we get into it, everyone can introduce themselves. I'm sure everybody already knows who you guys are, but still introduce yourselves and then your rating. I'm nervous to find out everyone's rating, but yeah. So, Cassidy, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Cassidy. I read epic fantasy and I do dabble into fantasy romance, but mostly read fantasy. And then I also read a little bit of horror, but a lot of epic fantasy on my channel. I gave this book 3 stars and a very low 3 stars. I'm excited to see where the series goes, but I felt like most of this book was kind of boring. Especially having read The Crowns of Nyaxia. So, yeah. But I trust it's going somewhere.
I'm Kaylee. My channel's name is Kaylee's Books. I read pretty much everything. I consider myself like a variety booktube channel. And for my rating for Daughter of No Worlds, I read it back in April. I did not end up rereading it for this live show. I have really similar thoughts to Cassidy. I gave it 3 stars, but it was a pretty low 3 stars for me. And it was my first Carissa Broadbent that I read. So I was really scared when I read it because I was like, oh no, am I not going to love this author like everyone else? But then I read Serpent and it was like, okay, I love her. So I'm really excited to continue on with the series and hopefully end up loving it. But just this first book, I also thought it was kind of boring and didn't fall in love with the characters or anything like that. So I'm hoping to be swayed more with future ones.
I'm Hannah. My channel is Hannah's Recent Reads. I also mostly just read fantasy romance, and romance. So the holy trinity for me. And I also did not reread this one. I read it back, I don't know, a few months ago. I can't remember exactly when, but this year. But I didn't reread it. And I think when I read it the first time, I only read it once, but when I originally read it, I gave it 4 stars, and the longer I've sat with it, I'm like, it's really more of a 3 star. It was just fine.
My name is Rachel. My channel is Raven Haired Reader. I mostly read fantasy romance, and I gave it 4 stars when I read it.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sahar. You're on my channel, and I love this book more than everyone here. LOL. I gave it 4.5. I did have some issues with it, but I still really had a good time. So, hello, everybody. Let us know what you guys rated it. I want to see all the variety. Hello. Currently at work, but wanted to hop on and say hello. Well, welcome. Hello. Hi, Maria. Hi, Rye. For me, it's a strong 4 stars. I loved this book so much and loved the slow-paced character development. Nice. Well, this is my first Carissa book. I liked it. I thought it was good. I gave it 4 stars. Nice. Okay. I guess I don't really know. Where do you guys want to start? Do we want to unpack what we didn't like about it, which I feel like we'll have more to say. Well, not we. Y'all will have more to say about it. Or we can start with things that we liked first and then go into the tea. Do you want to do it that way?
Sure.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. Okay. Should we? I'm just gonna spoilers now because
4 minutes.
I don't know how to talk about the stuff that I liked without spoiling it because a lot of the stuff that I liked was later on.
Mm-hmm.
Also 3 stars. Okay. Well, I want to talk about my favorite character in this book, which was actually Nora. Is that how you say it? Nora.
I said Nora. I don't know. I tried to pronounce the U. It was hard.
Yeah, Nora. I don't know. At first, I had weird vibes from her. I don't know. I didn't know how to feel, but then towards the end, I don't know. She felt just kind of a badass, and I don't know. She had some one-liners. I was like, okay, yes, queen. And I didn't love that was I think my least favorite, we're already getting to least favorite. My least favorite part, like the only part that I had issues with, is I didn't love all the characters as much as I thought I would, but I did really like her. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like, I just didn't love the characters in this. I did like the entity. I thought she was fun. But that's probably my favorite part. And like the world building in this at the end of the book, I really, really enjoyed. I think it's going to get really expansive in the next couple books. But the characters themselves were not my favorite. And I felt like it was a little insta-lovey. But yeah.
Yeah, I really liked the world and like the glimpses of the world that we got, and any moments where we learned like more about the politics and things like that was going on. That's what gave it the 3 stars for me. But I found the characters so bland. Like, I don't know, I just could not get with them. And then again with the insta love, yeah, I just wanted there to be a bit more banter, and I think that's what I was missing. Was not enough like banter between the characters. They just like we're too nice to each other the whole time, which is definitely like maybe says a lot about me and like my preferences. But I was like, come on, be a little bit sassier. And then just with our main character being the type of character to like take it from people, which is fine because she was being strategic in like allowing people to be disrespectful towards her, and she had to go on that journey. But I think I prefer my female protagonist to be a bit sassier right from the start, and we just didn't get that as much with her. But the world I'm so intrigued by, and so I'm excited to continue learning about the world and hopefully fall in love with the characters through the future books. But and the magic too, I was like, is cool, but also I don't really understand it. So
Yeah, I agree, Kaylee. I just didn't connect very much to Tisana. Like I liked Max way more than I liked Tisana. Like when he was really grumpy and surly, I was like, that's what I like. And then he like warmed up to her and I was like, all right, so now you're boring. So, like, yeah, I just didn't connect to Susanna. I think I also just prefer a different type of like point of view or like main character like attitude to read from. Yeah, I just didn't connect with her.
My favorite character in this book is Max. I love him. I love his backstory. I think he's so sweet and I really, really like him. And I love like the twist. I think when you get to like part 2 or whatever and you find out kind of what's been going on and brewing and stuff, I think that that's really cool. So that was kind of like the 2 highlights of the book for me.
How did you guys feel about the switch from like just Tisana's POV to like switching back and forth between theirs in part 2?
I probably would have DNF'd if we didn't get that, to be honest. Like, I was struggling, and when Max's POV came in, it did help me a lot, because I was at least you kind of understood him more.
Yeah.
And I also preferred him earlier on. I felt like Tisana was kind of bland. I felt like she was, to me, I don't want to say one-dimensional, but like she had one goal in mind, and that was all that mattered to her. So it became like too overwhelming of her character, and I was like, I wanted more depth from it other than this one motivation that you have. So when he came in, I feel like there was added elements to the story. So I really liked that.
Yeah. It really takes a turn at that point in the book. Like it felt like 2 different books almost, because like the plot takes off, the world takes off, then you've got an additional POV. So it was like a little jarring at first, but like you said, Cassie, I liked having that second point of view because I just couldn't be in Tisana's head for that long.
Yeah.
I also am curious because I read The Serpent and the Wings of Night first.
Me too.
And I absolutely loved it. And I was like so hyped for Daughter of No Worlds. And then I went into it and I was like, aw. So I wonder if I had read them in the reverse, if I would have enjoyed it more because I wasn't like comparing it. I don't know.
I read it in the reverse and I was like really worried about my ability to enjoy Serpent because of Daughter of No Worlds not being as exciting. And like I found out about it on TikTok, and everyone on TikTok compares it to ACOTAR, you know, specifically the Daughter of No Worlds series. And I was like, whoa, like this giving everyone the same feels that they got during ACOTAR. Like I want that in my life. And then I read it. It was like, where are these comparisons happening? Like I don't understand it at all. But there's like
I don't see that.
Yeah.
People say like it's just like Throne of Glass, and I'm like, it's really not.
The only thing that's similar is that she was a slave and now she's not. And I'm like, do you know how many fantasy books start out that way? Like, that's why are you spitting it on this? Oh,
They have similar early motivations, but like that is it. Like,
Yeah.
So I guess
Like,
even though I did start with Daughter of No Worlds, I did go in with extremely high expectations.
Yeah,
it wasn't
I
just
get
like an average like book I was picking up. I was going in expecting it to be like a new favorite, and so then the disappointment, and I feel like that's why I'm like it's such a bitter 3 stars. Like just like yeah, it was fine, but like damn, I really wanted it to be like an all-time fave, and it's just like it was fine, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like I read Serpent first and loved it, but you had read Daughter of No World, so I went in with expectations that I wasn't gonna like it because we're pretty similar normally, and you had liked Serpent, and I was like, okay, this could not go well. Like I could not like this, which like I'm glad that I liked it enough to like give it 3 stars, and I've been told that the second book is like incredible, so I'm excited for the second book.
Why did you say it like you're like you got all quiet? Like
I just feel like everyone knows me for hating books. So like I'm always scared whenever I'm on a live show and I'm like, I'm gonna hate this book. I know I'm gonna hate it, and I'm gonna have to come talk about it when everyone else is gonna be like 5 stars.
well, we do have a 5 stars. Another 3 stars, also 3 stars. I thought the beginning was strong, but then it fell off pretty soon after that for me. Interesting. I feel like I had the opposite like reading experience. Like I still love the beginning, but I think the part 2 was like even better for me.
I liked the very beginning and the very end, and the middle was my rough part. I think a lot of them just like in the house training, I was just like, okay, like can we get something else? Like I get it, you like each other. Can you at least admit your feelings to each other? Like this is so annoying at this point.
No, there was one part like that's the only part at the top that I tabbed, and it's chapter 26, like the very beginning. I just thought it was so sweet when they were like I started memorizing like his habits, and then he also like I realized he stopped asking me like this, and like you know there were always what was like raspberries stocked or like little things like that. I thought those moments were like really sweet, so I actually really enjoyed their romance. Like I didn't feel it was super insta lovey, but like I can see where like that would come into play for some people. So I don't know, but I also just like a like sweet like love interest, so I didn't mind
it. Issue was that we were being told like, oh, now he knows my habits, things are I would have liked to see it happen instead of just being told like this happened but it was off page, so like now I've realized these things. Like I would have liked to see it build on each other to like, oh, all of a sudden she like goes out there and she's like, oh, there's strawberries in the fridge, and like I didn't put them there. Like I would have liked to see the moments instead of just being told about them.
And also, I feel like I was led to believe one thing about how their relationship would be, and then, in my opinion, it felt like a 180 in terms of like he started out so grumpy, and I was like, this is gonna be like lots of like interesting dynamics going on, and then like he switched so fast, in my opinion, like so grumpy to like so sweet and so into her, and I'm like, what the heck? Like I wanted to like see that progression, because it's okay if he ends up at the same place. I just wanted it to feel more satisfying of a journey to get there, and I didn't get that satisfying development. I feel like it just kind of happened immediately.
I feel like the idea of like he was grumpy and didn't want to train her because of like all of his past and stuff, and then like begrudgingly wanting to teach her because she like is resilient and doesn't want to give up, and then to like where you know she has the thing or whatever, and he's like, no, like this is terrible, like I'm trying to stop her and stuff. Like I feel like that setup is so good. I wanted more from the execution of it, because like that setup in itself is like, that sounds brilliant, but I just wanted more from how it was done.
Agreed.
I like this comment. Good banter was definitely missed, but to me it made sense due to the amount of trauma both Max and Tasana went through. Like it wouldn't have felt authentic if they were both making jokes. I think that's an interesting analysis.
I don't know. I feel like people can, I mean, of course it makes sense for these specific characters, but I think just because they went through trauma doesn't mean like we couldn't have had some of the banter, because I'm thinking of Serpent, you know, like both those characters have also been through a lot of stuff, but the banter didn't feel out of place or anything. It felt authentic to those characters too. So I think it just depends. But yeah, I agree. It's not how these characters were set up, but I wish they were set up differently so we could have had more.
Also, we could have had more like grumpy sunshine banter that isn't like as humorous banter, but like because he didn't want to train her, we could have gotten more from that. But he switched so fast that we lost that really early on.
Yeah.
Also 3 stars. I was so invested in Tasana's story, so I never felt bored. I'm in the minority, I know, haha. And I love Max from his introduction. I mean, I was invested in her story too. The only thing that I didn't understand was like her relationship with Sorrel. Is that his name? Sarah? I don't know how to pronounce any of these fantasy names. That man, okay, that like helped her escape or whatever. Like, she was so invested in like going back for him, and I didn't feel like as connected to like also rooting for her to get him out of that situation because I didn't know him. Like, we only saw him at like the very beginning, and so I wish like I don't know how, like maybe like flashbacks or like maybe have like a different like I don't know, something in the beginning to show us like his character a little bit more, so that when they finally like did reunite, like that whole scene where like she saw him across the room and like all that like would have been like a little bit more like dramatic and like, oh my god, she finally got here. Whereas it was like, okay, yeah, like she got there, cool, because I didn't like we didn't know him.
Yeah. I also felt like Tasana was like really naive. Like she just trusted everyone right off the bat. Like, I don't know. Like, just even from the beginning when she was like, oh, I'm going to buy my freedom. Like, girlfriend, they are not going to let you do that. Like, who put that idea in your head and why did you believe it? Like, she was like just so trusting of everybody. And I was like, you, okay, your life has been hard. Like, you got to know this is the real world here. Like, she was just, I don't know, too naive.
Agreed.
I feel like she was just so emotionally manipulated by him though, that like when he said like, oh, for 1,000 whatever currency, like I'll let you go, I feel like she would have just like listened to anything that he was gonna say up to that point where she realized like, oh shoot, like he's really never gonna, or he'd never let me do anything, like blah blah, and then like
yeah. But even after that though, like she was just trusting everybody left and right, and I'm like, you've been burned before, you need to calm down.
I did really like the like discussion on abusive relationships though in this. I thought it was really done well in like terms of like after she's murdered him and she's thinking about the good things and like regretting murdering him, but he was terrible. Like, no, good for you for murdering him.
Yeah.
But like that's so real, like why people stay in abusive relationships, because they picture the good and like forget the bad. I thought it was really, really well done, which doesn't surprise me because of obviously all the trauma and stuff handled in Serpent too.
Just really enjoyed your time. I also annotated it a lot. So, I know, and like all like matches.
Yeah, it looks good.
My roommates were hardcore judging me. They're like, Sahar, you're such a nerd. And I was like, okay, and I was like, oh, like look, like I have my key and I have my highlight, and they're like, what is happening? Also, her book 2 is way better. Yes. How do we feel about, again with the pronunciation, Zareth, the main bad guy? How do we feel about him?
I think that I would have liked a little bit more nuance to him. It's like I knew he was the bad guy like so early on. Like I just felt like it was so obvious to me, and I would have liked to have like more moments of him maybe being good and like sucking Tasana into like the like, so that she's like, because she's so naive, I think it would have been easy for us to like see him as like a good person, but I feel like it was very clearly that he's not a good person.
Yeah, I didn't find him that interesting. And also I just wanted more like, because there's so many frustrating moments where you're just like, oh, I hate like him, and I hate that Tasana is having to like deal with him in this like certain like dancing scenes and stuff like that. And then there just wasn't enough like satisfying moments to counteract the annoying moments, where I understand like it's probably going to make us wait for it. I'm sure there'll be satisfying moments like future, like later on in the series, but I need a little bit of more satisfaction in each book to balance out the annoying thing, because at the end of the day it seemed like Tasana was more of just like a character that gets pushed around by people to me.
Yeah, I think again, like my main issue was just like the characters in this book. Like that was really the only thing that I didn't love, and I just did not really enjoy him as like a villain. Like I don't know. I didn't get like bad guy. Like I never was like super like, oh my god, like he's, I don't know. Everything that he did was like, well, yeah, obviously, like he's a bad guy. Of course he would do that.
Yeah, like the ending reveal. Like I was like, of course you're controlling the queen. Like,
Yeah.
that's not shocking. Like I think that's shocking, but of course you're gonna have her killed now. Like it just made sense. I wish we had seen more of her too, because then that reveal would have been like more developed if like we had seen her like trying to pull the strings and then really he was the mastermind. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
I did not like the child queen.
The 13-year-old.
I was like, no. When I was like, don't tell me this is real. Like the little kid, like there's no way. I'm like, we could in like 2 seconds and like fix the situation. Yeah, I was like, please tell me this is not legit. But yeah, so that was when I read that, I was like, come on, Carissa, no, not the child queen. But yeah, that was an interesting choice.
And such an annoying child queen too.
Yeah.
The voice in the audiobook is so bad for it too. I was like, this is the audiobook I couldn't listen to. I had to listen to it and physically read it. I don't like the audiobook for this whole series, by the way.
The audiobook was not great.
I was not reading, so I was like, I need the audiobook sadly to get myself through it.
Yeah. That's fair. I think one of my favorite parts was like just the world and the magic in this book. So I wanted to talk about like the, oh my god, again with the name,
Yeah, I said like
you might know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The entity, yeah. How do we feel about that? Because I personally loved that whole.
Yeah, I loved the reveal, and when it was like that's what's happening, I was like, oh, this is like freaky and cool. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's the part at the end that saved it to me, because I had started to feel like it was venturing into 2-star category, and then the entity I was like very intrigued by, and I hope we get like even more interesting moments with that. But that's why, because I really liked the very, very beginning, like when she's like running away and stuff, and then the end because of the entity I liked.
I agree.
I still have no clue how the magic works. Maybe went over my head for not being a native English speaker, but the 10,000 flowers that she had to make, why? Yeah, honestly, I felt a little dumb reading this book because I also did not fully understand, but I was like, I'm here for it. It's complicated, so I love it.
Yeah, I think it's just like in you and what you can do. Like it's not very like logical, like written. The 10,000 flowers was just like an exercise for her to perfect her skills. But there's like no real, like we're not really given, I feel like, a valid reasoning behind how her magic works. It just works.
Yeah.
I think that's why too the training stuff didn't work for me as well, because it's like I don't even understand what progress looks like with this magic, because it's so like internal and not explained well. But I think it's not explained well because there is no like single explanation. But it's just like it was hard for me to see progress and hard for me to like root for certain things happening, because like I don't understand what like the benchmarks of progress look like for magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like when he turned into a snake later on, I was so confused. I was like, we're a snake now? Okay, cool. I didn't know your magic could do that. I did like the like differences between like the races and like how their magic was different. I mean, I don't really understand exactly how they're different, but I liked the concept of like you being more physical and you being more emotional or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think Carissa Broadbent did a good job of kind of setting up like the world for the rest of the series. And I think Cassidy, you said like it's gonna expand more. And I definitely agree. Like I think books 2 and 3 are gonna be really interesting to really sink their teeth into like the world and the magic system, hopefully get some more nuances to each thing and fully understand like how everything works, and then maybe get that progress, Kaylee, that you were like, missing. So I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm nervous because I'm like, what if that doesn't happen? But I'm excited.
I'm hoping it follows like I feel like our typical like FanRo type series where like the first book is our character being very naive to the world, so it's like not as expansive. But then when you get to the second book, she obviously knows more and more things are happening, so like I feel like the world gets more developed in second books a lot of the time, because the first is more about like your characters.
Yeah, which is funny because I just love the characters. I was like, okay.
I felt like I wouldn't classify this as a fantasy romance. Like, I would just say it's a fantasy that has like a romance subplot.
Interesting.
Because like the romance, I don't know, it wasn't as balanced as I would have.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what I care about, I definitely cared about the fantasy plot more than the romance plot. But yeah, just because the romance plot, I feel like was kind of, I don't know, not maybe that's what you're saying, like not the focal point, like not enough energy given to the romance, where like it just was there, it just happened. We just have to trust that it's there. I don't know, not even get the development it needed.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see how the magic system develops. It's very different from other systems I've read before, especially with the dark magic entity being put in people. Yeah, I'm excited for that. One thing about that though that like really annoyed me, it was like right at the end of the chapter when Max was like, "Don't go in there," when she got called by like them. He's like, "Just trust me, don't." And I was like, "Just tell her." Like literally, why are we doing this? I was like, he's like, "I know, but I won't tell you. But you have to." I'm like, "Just tell her. Like she's gonna find out." That really annoyed me. That was the only point in the book where I was literally like, "Are you freaking kidding me right now?" Like, no.
I felt that way about them a lot. Like, I don't want to call it miscommunication, but they just didn't want to tell each other things. And I was just like, just tell each other. Like, this is not endearing. This is just annoying. Just tell each other.
That spot though, that was a big one where it's like, she's gonna find out literally right now. Like, if you want to try to stop her, tell her about this like horrible thing that's gonna happen.
He was compelled not to tell.
True, but I feel like if you love someone and I'm supposed to believe you're in a romance, like I would I would get in trouble and tell my partner easily. Like I would tell them the thing I'm not supposed to tell them. So I feel like that also just like doesn't make me relate to the romance, because like I will sacrifice myself for someone I love very easily.
Yeah. I also feel like with her character, like he knows that she has that one goal in mind, and so like no matter what happens when she steps into that room, she's gonna agree to it if it means that she can go back and like save everybody and help people. So like it's not like, oh, maybe she'll say no, and maybe like it's like, no, you know that when she steps in, she's gonna agree to this and like be destroyed like you were, and like why wouldn't you just tell her then?
At least give her a warning of what to expect.
Yeah.
And she can like better prepare herself. I mean, she obviously didn't need it because for some reason she became really, really smart and made them write things down very specifically, even though she doesn't speak English. Well, not English, but like their language properly. But
that to me was my favorite part of the whole book, because I just took contracts in law school. And I was like, when they were like, oh, it can't be too vague, I was literally like low-key getting triggered, but also I was like, yes. Write that shit down.
She doesn't know every second word, and now you're telling me that she can write a really well contract? Like, it didn't make sense to me. Like, every second word, she's like, what does that word mean? And now she's writing, like, this perfect contract out. So, I don't know, I was really annoyed by the, like, language representation, too. I feel like it was, like, half-assed, where, like, at times she would understand things, and at times she wouldn't. And it just felt very, like, gimmicky to me instead of being, like, real representation.
Well, I feel like she still didn't make out the perfect contract though, because like he was like Zareth, whatever the hell his name is, was like, oh, I'm leaving, and she's like, no, like we had a deal, like blah blah blah, and he was like, well, the deal was that you would get help, not like from me. So like she still like didn't get it like perfect. So I like that it wasn't like down to a T, that everything that she wanted she got.
Yeah.
The blood pact made no sense to me. It came out of nowhere, and it seemed like we were supposed to already know about it. I wonder if it had been cut out of the book.
It is mentioned once earlier on in the story, but not well. Honestly, the more I talk about this, I think it might be a 2-star. I hate myself.
Not allowed.
Put me back up. Thank you.
Wait, hold on. This is okay. That made my head hurt.
Yeah. Why am I like this? People need to stop inviting me to book clubs.
No, you make for an interesting live show discussion because I know Cassidy's gonna hate every book I read.
You're not wrong.
You love Serpent though, so it redeemed everything.
I do. I even have a serpent sweater on, so.
Wait.
Cute.
Oh wait, oh my god, that's so cute.
Had to put it on.
Dagger.
Oh god.
That. Sorry. It was mostly like for me trying to see what it was rather than like
Fair.
I'm just like I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about that we haven't already? Let's see. I'm trying to look at all my tabs. There were like some moments where like I don't know, I just kind of like laughed because it just sounded funny. Like this one part, like, and if she was going to create a distraction, she was going to create the most distracting distraction ever to distract. And I was like, what just happened? But it like kind of made me giggle because I was like, this is so silly. So I don't know, like things like that are like kind of why I like Carissa Broadbent's writing is because like she'll throw in something like not stupid, but like a little like lighthearted almost, like break up the intensity of what is happening. And you could definitely see like her talent even just like in this first one. Like it's definitely more polished like in Serpent and stuff like that, but like it's by no means like bad writing like this early on.
Agreed.
Yeah, so I really, really enjoy her work. Anything?
I really hope we come back for book 2 and like we're like, yeah, it was so good. I love it.
I hope so.
I'm like, book 2
So excited.
is like, I'll be very curious to see because it feels different to book 1. I'm just gonna say that, and that could be a great thing for you guys, or it could be like,
yeah, I'm so excited to see what you guys think.
Have you read the last book?
I've read the second book, and then I DNF the series until we pick it up for this.
Oh no! I'm scared.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what you guys think of book 2. Just based on everything that you're saying right now, I'm like, this will be
I've been watching your face, Hannah, and I could tell you were holding stuff back because you were like so quiet in certain key moments.
She has that smile. Every time you talk about a book that Hannah doesn't like, she has that like smile, like this little smirk on her face. Like you say fourth wing, she's like. But are you gonna try to read the third book again, or are you just like, nope, I'm done?
No, I'll try to read it for the book club, but I'm not promising that I'll finish it.
I'm so scared now.
I too am scared. Although, like, I'm hopeful. I was hopeful about this one because it was a finalist in Well, it was a semi-finalist in SBFBO 7. I don't know if any of you know that. But
I did not know that.
Which goes up against 300 books. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I know, like, back when I first read it and said I didn't like it that much, like on a couple Discords, there were so many people saying like, still try book 2, still try book 2. And so that's why like I'm very hopeful for book 2. And now I'm really curious since we have 2 differing opinions below us here. So potentially.
And I didn't like Fourth Wing, so at least I'm still hopeful.
Yeah, I'm trying to like not go in with like too high of expectations into book 2. But I am really, really excited. So we'll see. I also just like love the covers. So if I don't like the book,
the covers are just so pretty.
The covers are so pretty.
Also, I've already like just the annotations just make me so happy. Like, look.
Yeah, you can see mine stop.
Yeah, you're one.
I was like, I have nothing left to say. This is.
I was reading this like on my commute. I had to like take the bus to work, to my internship, not my waitress job. And it takes me like an hour to get there, like to the courthouse. And so I'll just like be reading the book, and I obviously like can't take my highlighters and my annotations, be sitting on the bus like trying to do it. So I was literally like taking notes on my phone, like page 297, highlight last line. Like I literally, I would come home and like put on TV and then like go through to like
Go back and do it all. I've done that before.
I just felt so silly literally writing like the page number and like where on the page I like wanted to put in, like what color. And I was like, this is weird. But yeah. I was already debating reading book 2 and now still debating. We should. The reading sprints for book 2 will be on July 19th. So everyone can read that with us. You don't have to read the book that day. Just come sprint with us. It'll be fun, a good time. I'll be starting the book on sprints. So yeah, but does anyone else have any last words, thoughts, comments?
Hannah, are you rereading book 2?
No.
I'm so scared now.
I'm ready. Okay. It'll be fine. Manifesting.
You like really love the first one though, Sahar. So
Yeah, you'll be good, I think.
I think you'll be okay.
But like it went
Rachel liked the
downhill
first
for
one
him.
and the rest of the series. So like
Well,
I think
Rachel,
if you like the first book.
Didn't you like the first one more than the second one when you first read it?
When I first initially read it, I mean, I gave the second book 4.5 stars.
Okay.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for coming and chatting about Daughter of No Worlds with us. Again, sprints on July 19th at 6 p.m. CST on my channel. Looking forward to reading that one. And yeah, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thank you to my wonderful co-hosts for being with me here today. Love you all. And goodbye. Awkward hand waves. Yay.